Jonathan Taylor has been given permission to seek a trade out of Indianapolis. And word on the street is that there's a good amount of interest when it comes to acquiring Jonathan Taylor. Despite the current state of the running back market, there are a good amount of teams out there that feel like Jonathan Taylor could be the missing piece to their Super Bowl puzzle. And one of the teams that has expressed the most interest in trading for Jonathan Taylor has been, surprise, surprise, the Miami Dolphins. Jonathan Taylor, we know he's one of the best running backs in the NFL when he's fully healthy. If he gets traded to the Miami Dolphins, the Dolphins' chances of winning the Super Bowl dramatically increase with him. You can have concerns about their offensive line. Can Tua stay healthy? But what you can't deny is that the Miami Dolphins will probably have the best non-skill position group in the whole entire NFL. When you take into account their wide receivers, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and what they could potentially have at running back by acquiring Jonathan Taylor, it will really move the needle in a favorable way to Miami being able to win a Super Bowl. Now, let's say Jonathan Taylor gets traded to Miami and they only give up a couple second, third round picks or just a late first round selection. This team, are they the best in the AFC? Do you think that Miami could go on the road during playoff time and upset Kansas City? Now that you're not going to go into that game with a one-dimensional offense, you're going to be able to have a running back that's going to be able to take some of the burden and pressure off of Tua Tagovailoa, and you're going to be a way more balanced and complementary style offense. And when you're going on the road to face Kansas City, sometimes your quarterback could get out to a slow start. And Patrick Mahomes, he normally ends up starting the first half of the AFC Conference Championship games on fire. And the difference between Patrick Mahomes and Tua Tagovailoa is that Tua Tagovailoa is good most of the times, but in big moments, he can come up small. Patrick Mahomes, he always shows up in the big moment. So how do you ensure, if you're the Miami Dolphins, that you give Tua Tagovailoa the best chance to lead your team to the playoffs? Well, you give him more talent around him. And by giving him Jonathan Taylor, you're going to have one of the best rushing attacks in the NFL. Miami was already a pretty good running team when they had Raheem Mostert last season. It's just that sometimes they tend to get away from the run game. With Jonathan Taylor and the freight train that he is, you're definitely going to make sure that you put way more priority on establishing the run game. And when you can run effectively in the playoffs, it's also able to take not just pressure off of your quarterback, but it also takes pressure off the defense, because then the defense is going to be off the field for a longer duration of the time. If your offense can have a good run game and take a lot of time off the clock, it gives your defense a lot of time to rest up on the sideline, and it tires out the opposing team's defense. Jonathan Taylor, he goes to the Miami Dolphins. Is this a team that could beat Kansas City on the road? I think they could. Could they beat Cincinnati? Why can't they get it done? Jonathan Taylor, I like him over Joe Mixon. And the wide receiving core that the Dolphins have with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, I think is just as good as the wide receiving core that the Bengals currently have. What about the Ravens? What about the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Buffalo Bills, the New York Jets? I think with Jonathan Taylor, the Miami Dolphins probably end up becoming one of the top teams in the AFC if they're not in your top three teams or up there in your opinion right now, prior to the Jonathan Taylor trade happening potentially. Right now, people probably view the Miami Dolphins as dark horse Super Bowl contenders. But you get Jonathan Taylor, you got no choice but to view them as legitimate Super Bowl contenders. You got an offense with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. Tyreek Hill is debatably the best receiver in the game. Jalen Waddle, arguably the best number 2 wideout in the game, and then you give them one of the best RBs in the NFL? I mean, there's just no way you can't say that the Dolphins wouldn't be up there with Kansas City and Cincinnati, especially if we include all the talent that they have on defense, especially when Jalen Ramsey comes back fully healthy. So, Jonathan Taylor on the Miami Dolphins. This, in my opinion, would make this one of the top teams in this conference. And you probably could say they would be the best team from a talent standpoint in the AFC East. I would easily take Miami over the Buffalo Bills if they acquired Jonathan Taylor to win this division. The Patriots aren't really going anywhere. The New York Jets, they signed Dalvin Cook. That was a really good pickup, but is their offensive line going to be better than the Miami Dolphins? And the Patriots, they got Ezekiel Elliott, but he's not what he used to be. The Miami Dolphins, if they get JT on their roster, their chances of winning the Super Bowl improve a lot, and their chances of winning this division improve also. Jonathan Taylor will make the Miami Dolphins a really scary team. They're already a really talented football team as it is already. They have one of the top 3 best rosters in the NFL. And now you give them Jonathan Taylor, you probably could make the argument that they become the best team in the AFC.